Hey guys, I wanted to do some new form of content because I've been really wanting to do this kind of thing for a long time, and it's like to kind of record my view on a lot of things in the world. I'm really interested in doing this kind of stuff, and maybe can hopefully give you a bit of insight on what's happening in the world right now. Because if you do not know, currently it should be about morning, I'd say afternoon, for my American friends when I release this video, because what's happened, I'd say yesterday, is Trump. As you all know, Donald Trump has been inaugurated, or has taken the inauguration ceremony at the White House just yesterday. As you can see, this Donald Trump and uh, his wife, and there's a great fireworks show happening, and this is the swearing-in ceremony for Donald Trump. And I just wanted to kind of briefly give a bit of explanation on what you can expect, even if you're not an American citizen, what you can expect to see around in the world. Uh, and first of all, we can look at Trump's day one plans. If you've been following him recently, or at least if you've been following him throughout the election campaign, he has been talking a lot about his day one plans, or basically what he's promised to do um, on day one. Whether he can do every single one of these on day one, that one might not be. And maybe it'll take him about a week, but these are some things that he's promised that he'll be doing, and I'll be going through some of them, starting with immigration. Uh, Donald Trump has been very vocal about his views of on immigration, and it has been one of the reasons why he did really well with the American population, and that is with his immigration policies. Uh, Trump has, because a lot of Americans are really fed up with the immigration system, and Trump has sworn to kind of fix these kind of situations, starting with basically the over immigration. Right, right now the United States is letting in a lot of migrants, and maybe a bit more than the country can face, or the country can at least handle with. So gonna try and they're gonna try and lower the amount of immigration that comes in. As you can see, Trump has plans to implement strict border controls. It's not his first time though. We've seen these kind of things happen during his first term from 2016 to all the way to 2020. He's been very vocal about being hard on immigration, with a lot of mass attention, and talking about returning migrants, basically just kicking out the migrants that are already in the country. And he's been very vocal about this too. Basically, this is, as you can see, it's called Remain in Mexico. So, for a bit of context about what's happening at the border in America, basically what's happening is that a lot of people are going through what's known as called asylum seeking process, where basically they show up to the border, the border guards, and they say, "Look, I've been evicted from my house. I cannot go back to my house. Uh, I cannot go back to my own country because either the government is actively seeking me out, they're actively trying to purge me or trying to execute, they're hunting for me. Right? So I can't go back to my country anymore, and I have nowhere else to stay. Can you please accept me, and can I please live in America?" So this is what happens. This is called asylum seeking process, and basically a lot of people are using this to try and get into America. They're saying, "Well, I don't have any other country to go to. Can you please accept me?" This asylum restriction. And what's traditionally been happening under the Biden plan is that under the Biden plan, he's basically letting the migrants, or the people seeking asylum, get to stay in America for a while. They get to stay in America until their documents, their applications are all processed, and then they'll finally become, I guess, or they'll finally be able to be let into the country legally. But what Trump is doing with this is called Remain in Mexico, which is basically saying you should wait in Mexico. You shouldn't come into our country while we're doing the document process or we're doing the application process. And then once we do the application, then you can come in. But you have to basically remain in Mexico, as the deal suggests. And yeah, so basically this is basically saying, well, a lot of the migrants, when they enter the country, they may cause havoc into the country. So they should therefore remain in Mexico. And this is one of his plans to basically just stop the flow of too much migration, too much immigration into the United States of America, right? He's also talking about stuff like this. And yeah, it's one of his promises that he made in the campaign trail. So basically, he's just very hardcore on immigration. He's trying to lower the amount of immigration, or at least slow down the process of immigration. He's also talked about building a border. I mean, building a wall. I'm not too sure how much that will be effective, but you can basically see that during his term he'll be much more harder on immigration. He'll be trying to stop more of the immigration. He's also talked about where is it? Tom Homan. Yeah, Tom Homan. Uh, this guy, he's very vocal about trying to basically just protect America from this wave of immigration, and hopefully just slow down the process and try not to let in a lot of the dangerous groups. There are a lot of dangerous groups that may want to get into the America using this loophole, and basically uh, Donald Trump is trying to fix this part of the immigration policy. Because there's a lot, 11 million. um, yeah, so Trump's been very vocal about immigration. What you'll likely see, maybe we'll not see a wall. He might not make the wall, or he will construct the wall, but you'll definitely see him increase, give more funding towards securing the border. He'll try and fix this loophole of immigrants using the asylum seeking process, and we'll likely see that he'll be much more hardcore in immigration. I'm not too sure if he will follow in his plans to evict or basically kick out the immigrants who are already in America. It seems like a daunting task, but we'll just have to see. He's also promised stuff like ending birthright citizenship. Basically saying that if you're born in America, you should be American, right? And yeah, he's also talked extensively about January 6th, stuff like this. Yeah, basically, he's trying to just, defend the people who were at January 6th, who were protesting at the Capitol. But more on that, these are we go on to foreign policy. Foreign policy. So basically, stuff that you might be seeing or you might experience. And the first one is a really big thing that's happening in the world is the war in Ukraine. As you all know, this war has been happening for about 2 years now. It's a war between both Ukraine and Russia over some parts of Ukraine, and Trump has been very vocal about his stance on Ukraine, and basically saying the USA should have no business in Ukraine, and because during the Biden administration has been very vocal about sending aid to Ukraine. I think currently about $200 billion worth of aid has been sent to Ukraine. Most of them are aid in the form of weapons. Some of them are in the form of money. But it has sparked a lot of criticism from the far right, or at least some American people who think that we shouldn't be sending this money abroad. And this is one of his plans. Trump has planned, to try and broker a peace deal. Broker a peace deal on the first few days of war. I don't know if he might get it in the first day, and maybe it's gonna take a bit of a week. Um, but I think more so than Donald Trump's eagerness to eagerness to stop the war, you need both Russia and Ukraine to agree. And for now, it seems slightly unlikely. Although Russia has opened up readiness for talks. So basically, what you'll be seeing is Russia will be trying to justify the the land that he's occupied, places like the Donetsk and the Luhansk region. You'll see maybe Russia will be trying to push for more regions like Zaporizhia and Kherson. We don't know if he'll be getting these regions, but he's basically just pushing for as much land as he can from Ukraine. And on the other hand, you'll be seeing Ukraine trying to push for less and less land gains by the Russians. The previously wanted Ukraine's initial peace, or basically the initial condition for Zelensky to negotiate peace was if Russia was going to leave basically all territory, all disputed territory, even Crimea. Although seeing that Ukraine and Russia are currently in a bit of a standstill, they're in a bit of a tight spot where no one can really make any good land gains. And instead, Ukraine's just basically pushing for let's just keep as much land as possible. So maybe Ukraine may or may not be giving up on some lands. Maybe he'll be giving up on some claims with Crimea or Donetsk or Luhansk. We'll just have to see. But more importantly, Trump is going to just try and Trump has been very vocal about pulling out American aid from the war, so you'll likely be seeing that all American aid towards Ukraine be reduced or even just cut out completely, and you'll also be seeing that Trump will be trying to negotiate a peace deal between these two, and hopefully the war in Ukraine can end. And right, next up is the economy. This is a big, this must and it might just be the largest the most important thing that Trump has been talking about as the economy, the one that really matters to a lot of the American citizens. Trump has been calling for a lot of tariffs. If you know what tariffs are, when another country wants to sell goods to you, usually the other countries such as like Canada or maybe the poorer regions of the world, the goods that they'll sell you will be really cheap, whilst the goods that your own country is producing will be really expensive. So your own citizens will likely want to choose to buy other goods, but goods from other countries, and therefore your own companies will be suffering a lot. So under a tariff plan, you'll see basically make tariffs are basically there to disincentivize other people from selling to your country so that your own companies benefit. But in this case, a tariff plan, um, Trump is enacting a tariff plan to basically just get as much money as possible. He's talked about 25% tariffs. He's been vocal about he's been vocal about how United States is being a bit unfairly treated compared to the rest of the world, and therefore he's trying to justify, look, you better pay us more money, and then yeah, basically just pay us more money through this tariff plan. And it's also supposed to help the economy by letting in all of, or basically inviting more of the foreign companies to stay in the United States instead of staying elsewhere, as mentioned. But most importantly, in China, Trump has been, or basically United States and China have been in a very heated trade war recently, and basically Trump is saying, well, they should not be operating in China; they should be operating in the United States. and that's what the purpose of the tariff plan is. And basically, um, as you see, the tariff plan is expected to raise nearly 3.3 trillion. That is a lot of money. Yeah, basically just getting a lot of money from other countries through these tariffs, and hopefully, this will help the American company, like the American, basically the American citizens. All this 3.3 trillion can be used to invest into America. Like, 3.3 trillion. That is a lot of money. Uh, yeah, but yeah, basically, he wants all this money from this tariffs. And why does he want this money? Well, it can be to reinvest into America, but it could also be to fund this, which is Trump's tax cuts, which is one of his main draws. Like, one of the things that he's been advocating for the most is to cut taxes, basically cut taxes on the middle class in America, who are struggling a lot to basically just buy anything, buy groceries, buy a house, to afford housing and stuff. So basically, cutting tax on them will allow them to save more money, will allow them to afford more groceries. And if this tax cut goes into plan, it will be basically he'll be cutting as much as $4.2 trillion. Right? Basically, the government will be receiving $4.2 trillion less from the U.S. citizens, and because of that, American citizens will have more money, and therefore they'll be able to pay for more tax, pay for more groceries. They'll be able to afford housing, and basically just lower the stress of inflation that's been hitting a lot of the American public recently. So the tariff plan is just meant to collect as much money as possible, so that uh, the government is afford or the government is capable of cutting all these $4.2 trillion worth of tax revenue, basically. And yeah, it's basically is meant to help out a lot of the middle class. You'll see Trump impose some sort of tax cut. I don't know if it'll be as big as $4.2 trillion worth of revenue, basically just cut maybe, but you will. But yeah, basically Trump has promised that you will be seeing some sort of tax cut to help alleviate the stress of inflation, right? Right, and next up we have basically Trump justifying why oil is very important, right? You know, um, basically when you yeah, so basically Trump has been talking a lot about this, basically just shale oil drilling, basically increasing the U.S. production of oil so you can reduce energy costs. Again, this is to help the middle class. Basically, when you reduce energy costs, you reduce the cost of the groceries, and then people will be able to save more money. Right? So it's one of his plans to basically alleviate the stress of inflation. And you also have other stuff like this, like transgender rights. He's been very vocal about his stance on um stuff like, yeah, ending gender affirming care, so that people below the age of 18 won't be able to access these kind of gender affirming products and stuff. And basically it's a lot more transgender women in or transgender women and men in sports in general and stuff like that. But something else I also want to talk about, and something that's been very popular recently, is Trump on basically Trump has been talking about taking some land, or basically buying some land, and one of the lands that he wants to buy is Greenland. As you all know, Greenland is part of Denmark, um, and Trump has actually floated this idea of buying Greenland for a lot of money during the first term, but it was rejected. But now he's saying that Trump believes that America should own Greenland, and one of the reasons is because, well, Greenland is extremely is Greenland is positioned in a very unique place. It's For those who don't know, it's in the north. It's in the very north where it's very cold there. Um, but basically saying that, well, Greenland is positioned between America and Russia, and he's basically saying, Russia could try and invade America via the maritime route via Greenland, the Northwest Passage here, the Northwest Passage, basically saying that, China is going to try and capitalize on controlling as much of the Northwest Passage to try and influence or increase their foreign influence abroad. Russia will probably do the same to try and trap America or try and sabotage America. So America's stance is basically, look, Denmark can't defend itself, so is gonna get either China, Russia, or America is gonna be controlling Greenland, and obviously, America right now is in hostile relations with both China and Russia. So basically, Donald Trump is saying, well, then America should be in control of Greenland. That's one of the reasons, but the bigger reason, in my opinion, is the rare materials. Because if you don't know, Greenland is a massive place. Greenland is massive. Some people like to joke that, hey, Greenland is not massive because it's according to Mercator projection. But even still, Greenland is very massive and is full of rare minerals. It is full of stuff like oil and gas, right? So there's rare earth metals, and this is important in stuff like the production of electric cars or wind turbines, stuff that are becoming extremely popular among nations as we try and move away from oil drilling and oil fracking, try and basically a green transition. And currently, China dominates the rare earth production, something you wouldn't really want if you're America, because America is trying to compete with China. So basically, America controlling Greenland and controlling all these rare earth minerals and metals will basically just be undermining China's leverage on these stuff. Basically, just positioning America as just like the superpower with all the materials, uh, in monopoly of the materials necessary for electric cars, wind turbines, and all these stuff, manufacturing military equipment too, right? And by the way, by getting oil and gas, he's also basically saying, look, we're going to lower the energy prices, we're going to make stuff more affordable, hopefully lower inflation rate. So that's why Trump has been very vocal about Greenland, but not just Greenland, he's also talking about Canada. And this comes from a joke tweet that Trump made on Twitter, or sorry, on X. Trump was basically joking about how Canada should become the 51st state of America. Probably not gonna be the 51st state. It's probably gonna be broken down if uh, America annexes Canada. Probably broken down to like 10 or so states. But this comes after Donald Trump has accused Canada of letting a lot of immigrants entered America. Basically, Donald Trump is saying, "Look, if you're not gonna protect your own border, and if you're not gonna reinforce your border and stop letting your immigrants into America, then America is going to impose, I think, 20 to 30% tariff on Canada." And Canada is largely dependent on America. America is the only other neighbor that Canada has. So a 20% to 30% tariff, I can't remember. 25% tariff, basically on all Canadian goods would just crush the economy. Uh, and as you can see, Justin Trudeau, when he was at basically Trump's party at Mar-a-Lago, basically saying that, look, Canada can survive with 20 to 25% tariffs, and basically Donald Trump responded, then you should become the 51st state. You should join our country. You should become the 51st state of America. But obviously, since Justin Trudeau has currently resigned, and now Pierre, uh, or Pierre Poilievre is seemingly gonna become the next Canadian president. Either that, or it's gonna be another candidate from the Liberal Party. So we still don't know if Canada is gonna become a 55th state. My guess is that probably not, but we'll see. Basically, Trump is just basically arguing that, you know, Canada can run itself, America should run itself. That, and also Canada controls the northern states, like I said. So America or Trump would like to control these northern states and just basically stop a lot of Russian and Chinese influence in the northern states, and hopefully be able to control that, such that when all the ice melts, he'll be able to influence a lot more of the global trade when a lot of the trade shifts up north. And that's basically him, talking about buying Canada. No, not buying Canada. Just basically just owning Canada. Yeah, he would rely on an economic force basically, and basically also Canada is running a trade deficit. So basically, Trump is just arguing, hey, Canada's just kind of ripping me off. So these are some of the things that Trump has promised, from stuff like, from immigration at the southern border. He's been talking a lot about peace terms in Ukraine. Something I have also never mentioned. Uh, his stance on the war in Gaza. While Trump has been very vocal about support for Israel, I'm pretty sure just today, I think it was yesterday or today, is that Israel has finally brokered a ceasefire agreement with Hamas, basically saying that, look, let's stop all hostilities in the Israel and Palestine war, and let's just calm things down. And Trump has been talking about this, and it's one of the things that he actually, pride himself in, saying, "Hey, I accomplished this massive ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas," but and basically, Trump's stance on the war is just that, let's just stop the war. It's kind of a pointless war, and we're also gonna pull off American aid. Well, there's not a lot of American aid going to Israel currently, but basically just stop all American involvement and let them, you know, basically just let them sort themselves out on their own, and let's go back to having more calm borders and no more war and stuff with Hezbollah. Yeah, basically that. So these are some of the things that Trump has basically announced he's gonna be doing on day one, or basically a lot of his policies that he's promised to carry out, and we'll see how much of these policies that he accomplishes. Whether he most likely will do immigration and stuff with immigration and with foreign policy on the wars and to pull out America. Not too sure about tariff plans or tax cuts. Maybe tax cuts he will do. Tariff plans, uh, I'm not too sure about them. And yeah, he's still talking about acquiring Panama Canal. Not too sure how successful he will be in these endeavors, but we'll just have to see. But these are some of the things that you can expect, and I've been really sloppy with my explanation, but I hope you guys now know a bit more about what you can expect in 2025 in under a Trump presidency, and yeah, basically just explaining what he's gonna be doing and what you can see, what you can expect, even if you're not an American citizen, what it can do to you and stuff like that. Right? So yeah, thanks.